everyone, and welcome back to another video on Manav Sports Talk. In this video, I'm going to be doing my power rankings, the top 10 teams in the NBA, the best teams in the league right now. In the association, we're going to be going over those, including my surprise number one pick. The Brooklyn Nets are my number one team in the NBA right now. That's a little bit of a surprise. Obviously, you're going to be saying, where the heck are the Utah Jazz? But I guess I'm another one of those Utah Jazz haters. Pretty much everybody is a Utah Jazz hater. Not gonna lie, but I got the Nets. I mean, the Nets are just playing really outstanding the past few games, and they won 10 of their last 11 games now, and they're number 2 in the Western Conference, with a 24-13 record, because James Harden is leading them from the front without Kevin Durant being played right now. James Harden and Kyrie Irving, this tremendous backcourt of the Nets, are really taking them to the next level, being them one of the main contenders to win the championship this year. The Brooklyn Nets, obviously the best offensive team you'll ever see. They're the best offensive team in NBA history, which is just ridiculous. I mean, you've never seen this kind of potent offense. You have all three scorers, big-time scorers of this league. Obviously, James Harden being the greatest scorer of this generation. And then you have Kevin Durant, that 7-foot monster of his, just shooting over everybody, absolutely laser shots, and he never misses, Kevin Durant. And then obviously Kyrie Irving, the best finisher in the game, no doubt. These lethal weapons, if you could call these guys. I mean, it's just insane. And they're the first trio of teammates in NBA history to average at least 25 points per game. Obviously you have Durant averaging that, and Harden and Kyrie as well. We've never seen this kind of offensive potential and firepower ever before. But the main thing being is that they won 10 of their last 11. They're a hot team, unlike the Jazz are. And personally, they're a scary team. They're so scary. Like, who would want to go against these Nets, man? I mean, it's freaky going against them. You have to guard James Harden, obviously double teaming him. But then obviously somebody's going to be one-on-one. It's just too hard to guard. And they're really scary, can blow the doors off you offensively. They lead the league in NBA in points right now, points per game, 121 points per game, and offensive rating as well, 118. And the fact is, they're winning it without Durant. They're beating high contender teams like the Suns, coming back from 24 down with James Harden, with Kyrie Irving. All of this is without Kevin Durant, who is expected to come back after the All-Star game, and that's what makes them so dangerous, because they're already playing so well with just James Harden and Kyrie. Now imagine when they bring back the 7-foot monster in KD. It's just going to be unstoppable. And they're so much more scarier than the Utah Jazz. I mean, they're that team. They're that team that nobody wants to face. They are the Brooklyn Nets. And they beat in the Lakers, obviously, without full strength. But they beat the Clippers, who were at full strength without Kevin Durant. And this year, they're first in field goal percentage at exactly 50%, second in three-point percentage at 41%, and they're third in three-pointers made, 15 three-pointers per game, and they're seventh in three-pointers attempted per game. So you can see that they do like to take a lot of threes, but they do make a lot of threes because they have really great shooters. James Harden shooting really great, the best of his career. Same thing with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So you can see the system that Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni, these guys in Phoenix, and then they love shooting the three-pointers. Obviously, Mike D'Antoni down here in Houston, I know him because of that. We just used to fire away three-pointers without any brains, honestly. That's what used to happen down here in Houston. And Brooklyn scores, 38% of their points on their three-pointers, so they rely quite a bit on it. We'll see if they can do that in the playoffs. The fourth highest rate in the league, they rely on their three-pointers, and second in assists per game, so they do like to move the ball around. James Harden obviously leading the league in assists right now. They second in assists per game, 27 assists, and also second in clutch wins, which means it's a close game, under 5 points with 5 minutes left in the game. They won the second most games in those tight situations, which tells you they can get it done when they need to. And Kyrie Irving this year, obviously an all-star starter, leads the league in offensive rating. And then Joe Harris, another huge piece for the Brooklyn Nets puzzle. Joe Harris shooting probably the best from three this year. Obviously Steph Curry, but Joe Harris is on fire. Second in the NBA in three-point percentage, shooting 51% from three, which is just insane. obviously get it to him, catch and shoot, top of the key, corner, wherever. He's just going to fire it, and he makes a whole lot of them. And this is why the Nets are dangerous. Not only do they have those 3 stars, they have a solid group of role players and bench players that can come in. Obviously, being Bruce Brown, he's their unsung hero. I mean, you never even heard of him probably, but like, I'm telling you, Bruce Brown is really special. He's their small ball center. You know, sometimes they like to play that small ball. Obviously, it doesn't really work against teams like the Lakers, because the Lakers just beat you up because you're too small. But look, Bruce Brown, 6'4" guard, but he's their small ball center. He's been doing really great. He's averaging 18 points per game. I mean, over their past 5, which is just insane. And he had a 29 points career high over the King. He's a really great defender, obviously something the Nets need. They're not a great team defensively. He can guard all 5 positions. And then I've been taking a look at some of the other guys that they have, such as Nicholas Claxton. I was like, I've never even seen that dude in my life. I was like, who in the world is he? And like, I saw him against Houston. I was like, who is this weird-headed guy? And then I was like, it's Claxton. He was putting up some points. He had 16 points against my Rockets, so he plays pretty well. Then obviously DeAndre Jordan, can't forget about him. That center, the shot-blocking center, slam dunk, alley-oop. He got everything there. And then obviously TLC, Taylor Luanu-Cabarrot, Tyler Johnson, Jeff Green is also really solid, and Landry Shamet. They have a bunch of guys as well. James Harden. We were unsure. The Nets gave up practically their entire bench to get James Harden plus their future, but it's looking like it's worth it right now. I mean, James Harden is just unbelievable right now. He's playing the best of his career, leads the league in assists with 11 assists per game, and leads the league in minutes, 38 minutes per game, which is a lot. James Harden, one thing you can say about him, touch wood, he is durable. Shooting 42% from 3, 50% from the field. You're getting about 9 rebounds per game, and tied for second in the league for double-doubles. Obviously, those assists and points. And then third in the league with 8 triple-doubles, which is just really great for James Harden. 25 points per game, 42% from 3. They're 26th in defensive rating, 27th in points allowed. That's not going to get it done. They got to get better defensively, but that's the thing. They've gotten better defensively, which is what I've been saying. They actually play defense. If they can start playing defense and then get KD, ooh, God, you better watch out. Guys, they're insane then at that point. They've held a couple of teams under 100 points, like the Lakers, like the Magic. They've still got a long way to improve defensively. Obviously, that's where they've got to win. And that's the only way they can actually win this chip, is by playing great defensively. Yeah, so next up are the Utah Jazz. I got them at number 2. I mean, I'm giving them a little bit of disrespect considering they're 27-9, the best record in the league. But man, do I really think the Jazz are dangerous? They're not dangerous. Nobody's scared of these Jazz people, honestly. I don't really think much of the Jazz, honestly. Yeah, they have the best record in the league. They've faced a lot of easy teams, honestly. Their schedule really hasn't been too hard. Yeah, but they're a great team, I'll admit it. They are a really great team. Obviously, the best record in the league. People are talking about, they move the ball great ball movement. They always have that extra pass. It's all unselfish. They don't have that great superstar, but they do have 2 all-stars. Obviously, I love Donovan Mitchell, by the way. I really do. Spider Mitchell. He's really great. And then Rudy Gobert. Obviously, I hate Rudy Gobert. They're dummy. But, look, he's great defensively. That's why he made the All-Star game. Look, the disrespect to the Jazz has been real. Obviously, LeBron saying we don't play with the Jazz in 2K, but I mean, people have just been disrespecting the Jazz. The thing is, I just don't believe in them. They haven't beaten any great teams. That's what I'm worrying about. They beaten those teams, but those teams haven't been at full strength. They were going to beat the 76ers, but a little bit of some crazy calls here and there by the officials may have let that game go. But look, they came close, but they didn't get it done when they needed to at the end of that game against the 76ers. But look, they're beating all the teams. If they haven't beaten the Clippers at full strength, they beat up the Lakers, but the Lakers were nowhere near at full strength at that point. Whatever teams they've beaten haven't been at full strength. So that's just the way it is until they beat a team who's at full strength. If they can beat the Lakers with Anthony Davis and LeBron, then yeah, that would be great. Same thing with the Clippers, both Kawhi and Paul George. They lost to them. They haven't beaten the Bucks at full strength either. So, I mean, they're great. I'll give you that. They're definitely one of the better teams in the league. Obviously, And then you got Mike Conley, who finally made his first All-Star game in 14 years, which is just insane. Obviously, I think Mike Conley should have made it a long time ago. And then Bogdan Bogdanovic, he's pretty good as well. How do you say his name? Bojan Bogdanovic? I don't know how you say his name. But that's him. He's a great three-point shooter. Joe Ingles as well. And then Royce O'Neal. The thing is, these Jazz have been shooting the brakes off the three, honestly. They lead the league in three-pointers attempted per game at 43 and made 17 per game. So they've been firing away from the three-point line, honestly. And that's what I've seen. When teams shoot really well from three, they generally reach the top of the standings. Like the 65 win Houston Rockets, if you remember that. They're shooting 40% from three, which leads the league. They're leading the league in all of these three-point categories. They're third in points per game, second in rebounds per game, and fourth in defensive rating and fifth in offensive rebounding. So they're doing great defensively, getting those rebounds. They're playing well in all facets of the game, and Donovan Mitchell's leading this team from the front. And they're playing with motivation and chip on their shoulder. And they're keeping it up. And hopefully for them, they can actually beat teams that are at full strength and make themselves more relevant. I do have the Suns at number 3. The Suns have been climbing up this ladder, and they're now 24-11, second in the Western Conference, over the Lakers. Yes, they are over the Lakers right now. Monty Williams, their head coach, has been really terrific. And then obviously you have that star backcourt of Devin Booker and CP3, both of them making the All-Star game. They're really taking them to the next level. Chris Paul has really taken this Suns team to the very highest level of basketball with his great leadership and ability. And you got a bunch of different guys as well, such as Jay Crowder, who's been on like 100 different teams. And then Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton. You know, they're a really good team. They have some really young players led by Chris Paul. Devin Booker obviously has been great. They're the third best defense in the league, which is really great to see. They're top 10 offense, and they lead the league in assists, at 27.6 assists per game. So they like to share the ball. They're doing great basketball things, playing beautiful basketball. And since January 28th, the Suns have gone 16-3, which is the best record in the NBA during that time span. They're sixth in the league in shooting, making 48.5% of their attempts from the field, and sixth in shooting. So it's pretty good. They're a great team. I think you've got to understand the Suns are a good team. They are contenders. Both Devin Booker, Book has been great, 25 points per game. And then Chris Paul, 16 points per game, 8 assists per game. They've been great. And the Suns, you need to watch out for them because they are on fire. So the Lakers are fourth. I'm not necessarily worried about the Lakers, but the fact that they cannot win without Anthony Davis, they haven't been winning as great without him. They're 7-7 without Anthony Davis. Look, LeBron's playing some big-time minutes. He's an MVP candidate for sure. And look, they had a 4-game losing streak without Schroeder, if you remember, against the Heat, the Nets, the Wizards, and the Jazz. And then once Schroeder came back, they won 2 in a row against the Warriors and Blazers. And then they lose to the Suns, who didn't even have Devin Booker in the second half because of some stupid technical foul because the referees are being crybabies. And then, look, the Lakers are not in as great of a position as they were last year, 24-13 at the break, third in the West right now. There's only so much LeBron can do. He's not getting that consistent second score. Then if Schroeder brings that to the Lakers, I'm not worried about them. The Lakers should be fine. And once they get Anthony Davis back, maybe in a week or so, they'll be good to go. But right now, they haven't been playing as good compared to the others. Next up, the Philadelphia 76ers. I have them at number 5 right now. They are 24-12, the best record in the Eastern Conference. But look, they've lost against the Cavs. They lost against the Raptors for some reason. I don't know where those 2 losses came for whatever reason. That's why they've dropped a little bit. I was a little bit shocked to see they lost those games with full strength on their team. The big 3 of Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons. I love Tobias Harris. I know I've said that so many times. He's just really great. Obviously, Joel Embiid, he is the favorite to an MVP. And I'm going to go deep into that in my MVP video. So you can go ahead, make sure you stick around, subscribe, and enable notifications for that. They're 10th in points per game as well. But look, Doc Rivers has really taken this team to the next level. He's matured. He's a mature coach. He's really taught them to not be stupid, do anything silly. be professional. And that's really what I think Doc Rivers has done to this team. They're playing a whole lot better now. Tobias Harris, personally, I think he got snubbed. And from the All-Star game, look, they don't shoot that many threes. They're 28th in three-pointers made and attempted, and 15th in three-point percentage. But they're overpowering in the paint with Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris in the mid-range, and Ben Simmons being that floor general. They've beaten both the Lakers and Jazz full strength, so that tells you they can beat teams when they're full strength, unlike the Jazz. So, and to me, I think they're a team that can beat the Nets, or at least challenge the Nets in a 7-game series. Here's the thing, they're first in free throws and free throws attempted, so that makes you think the referees are on their side, and I think we definitely saw that against the Jazz. But they're first in blocks. Obviously, Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard have a lot to do with that. 5th in defensive rating as well. Look, their bench has been an issue. You have Thibault, you have Korkmaz, Dwight Howard, Scott. You have some guys off the bench who come in. It's not a very strong bench, but they do get some support. But obviously, that starting 5 is the best starting 5 statistically in the NBA. Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Danny Green, and Seth Curry. Right now, that starting 5 is really great. And I think the 76ers are a really great team. I think they can go far this year, and we'll see if they can reach the finals. Who knows? At number 6, the Milwaukee Bucks. Sorry, guys. But look, I think we've forgotten about the Bucks. They're 22-14, third in the Eastern Conference right now. Nobody's really talked about Giannis as an MVP favorite because the Bucks just haven't been, outstandingly great. They're not at the top of the conference as well. And they're just there. People are just forgotten about them. Drew Holiday, he's missed a couple of games, should be fully healthy after this All-Star break. Look, they got demolished by the Nuggets by like 31 points. Like, whoa. And then second in points per game this year, first in field goals made, fourth in field goals, 48.5% from the field, and fifth in threes made as well, 14.5 per game. First in rebounding, and 48.2 per game. So look, the Bucks have been putting up some really great numbers, especially offensively. They do that every year, but the problem with the Bucks is they just don't show up in the playoffs. Obviously, Giannis having a big part to do in that. We'll see, but so far the Bucks have done well this season, but haven't been outstandingly great. Haven't catched our eye yet. Giannis, he's putting up MVP numbers, but the team, just hasn't been playing as well as they had in years past. Giannis, he's playing well, 29 points per game, 6 assists, 12 rebounds per game, 56% from the field. But he's only shooting 29% from 3 and 66% from the free throw line, which is why I don't understand Giannis being an MVP. This is the MVP that we have, a guy who shoots air balls from the free throw line. Seriously? That is just ugly, seeing a guy shoot air balls from the free throw line. I just don't understand it, and it's frankly embarrassing to watch him do that. But the Bucks are there, but again, they haven't really catched my eye enough as compared to these other teams. At number 7, the LA Clippers, the other team in LA. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, of course. They're 24-14, fourth in the Western Conference, and they lost 3 in a row, so they're pretty much cooling down right now. These two haven't really stayed healthy throughout the year that much. They've come on and off the court. But look, Paul George has put up some tremendous numbers, a 50-40-90 shooter, a 50-50-90 shooter almost right now. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard being an all-star starter, putting up some really great numbers. But the Clippers are still there, 24-14, a pretty good record. Tyronn Lue as their head coach has been really well. They played well as their head coach. But look, they've lost 3 in a row. They're not playing well. Recently, they lost to the Wizards on that crazy rebound by Russell Westbrook. And then, but look, the Clippers, they're there. They'll be in contention. They're a solid defensive team. Really great front court, wing defenders. Ibaka's been great. They have pieces. They'll definitely be a contender come playoff time. Right now, they're right in the mix. Number 8, the Portland Trail Blazers. Dame Lillard, man. Dame time, guys. It's Dame time. 21-14, fifth in the West. Damian Lillard is a favorite for the MVP. One of the favorites. He's carrying these Blazers. Without Yusuf Nurkic, without CJ McCollum, we've heard this narrative over and over. But the fact is, he is carrying them. Lillard, 30 points per game, shooting 40% from 3, and 93% from the free throw line. Lillard is literally pulling wins out of his hat with these game winners, remember, against the Bulls, and these dagger shots against the Warriors. He is just leading this team from the front, and they're right in the mix. I mean, they're 5th in the Western Conference. Lillard has put them in that position, and the Blazers have been playing really well, considering they don't have Nurkic and CJ. So the Blazers are in a good position right now. They're probably going to jump a bit higher, I would think, once they get CJ back. But look, they have some really great players. Obviously, Gary Trent Jr. is one of them. He's shooting really well, 45% from the three-point line. He's a pretty good defensive player, and 15 points per game. He's their shooting guard right now because of CJ being out. And then Rocco, I love Rocco. Obviously, he's with Houston. He's a great blocker, gets a lot of steals, 3-and-D type guy. They've got some guys, the Blazers, and they're only going to get better. At number 9, we expected a lot more from these Denver Nuggets. I mean, they just haven't lived up to that hype that we were expecting. I mean, they reached Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals last year against the Lakers, and we're expecting big things from this really great young team. Obviously, Nikola Jokic has been playing really well. Right now, they're 21-15 and 6th in the West, which is just not what we expected. Jokic, obviously, Jokic has been an MVP candidate. 57% from the field, 88% on the free throw line, 41% from 3, 27 points per game, 9 assists and 11 rebounds per game, and he is stacking it up on the stat sheet every night, Nikola Jokic. But the fact is, the Nuggets just haven't won enough. For whatever reason, they are just not winning and just not getting it done, translating it to dubs on the other end. It's just not happening. They've made some stupid mistakes. Obviously, remember where Michael Porter Jr. and those 3 guys were shooting outside for 3 when they had a wide open layup to tie the game. It was just a dumb thing. They're just not winning enough. Jamal Murray's been playing solid, hasn't been playing as great as he was in the bubble. Murray's 22 points per game, 40% from 3, and 50% from the field, 85% from the line. They have a lot of different young role players and guys. Obviously, the third guy probably being Michael Porter Jr., about 15 points per game, 50% from the field, 42% from 3. MPJ is probably going to play a lot. He's a young player, he's going to get better. I think this Nuggets team, after this break, they'll get their act together. But they have a lot of different role players like Will Barton, PJ Dozier, Paul Millsap, Monty Morris. These guys are solid three-point shooters and guys who can get to the basket. They're 14th in defense, so about average. But they're really great offensively, 4th in points per game, 3rd in field goals made, 2nd in field goal percentage at 49%, and 5th in three-point percentage. So they've been playing great offensively. Defensively, they probably need to improve. But they just have to start getting some wins, because that's really all that matters, and they're not getting that done right now. Now, my number 10 team is the San Antonio Spurs. They are 18-14, 7th in the Western Conference. It is so surprising to see San Antonio here. The Spurs, seriously, I did not expect them to be up here. They've been playing great. Greg Popovich definitely should be in Coach of the Year. Pop has been leading this team tremendously. I mean, look at the talent they have. Besides DeMar DeRozan, they have a couple of other guys. But come on, we didn't expect the Spurs to be up here, and they are. So he definitely should be Coach of the Year. DeMar DeRozan, he got robbed. Should have been an All-Star. I don't know why you would put Mike Conley there. Should have been DeMar DeRozan leading this Spurs team. He's been playing really well. DeRozan, 20 points per game, 48% from the field, and 90% from the free throw line. And these Spurs have been relevant. They're getting some hard-fought wins. They're playing well. They have the least turnovers in the league per game. That must have a big impact on how they've been playing. They have DeJounte Murray, 16 points per game. LaMarcus Aldridge, 14 points per game. Lonnie Walker, 11 points per game. And Patty Mills, 13 points per game. And they're 9th in defense. Look, they're a solid team, a well-coached team, and they're right up there, surprisingly. And I did not see this coming, but they are playing well. So if you made it to the end of the video, please go down, hit the like button, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video about my NBA Power Rankings. And hope to see you in the next video.